What if the most powerful government agencies in America were secretly working against their own citizens? Not foreign enemies, not terrorists. You. Stay right there, because everything you're about to hear is documented, proven, and it should make every American furious. Let's start in 2010. The Tea Party movement was exploding across America. Millions of ordinary citizens, veterans, small business owners, stay-at-home mothers were organizing peacefully to demand smaller government and fiscal responsibility. And that scared Washington to its core. So what did they do? The Internal Revenue Service, the most feared agency in the federal government, started targeting them, not auditing them for tax crimes, targeting them for their political beliefs. Groups with names like Tea Party, Patriot, and We the People were flagged. Applications for tax-exempt status were buried. Some waited 3, 4, 5 years. Others were never approved at all. The IRS demanded donor lists. It asked invasive questions about members' political activities. One group was even asked what its members prayed about. In May 2013, IRS official Lois Lerner admitted it. In a carefully staged question at a legal conference, she acknowledged that her division had used, quote, inappropriate criteria to scrutinize conservative groups. Then she invoked the Fifth Amendment and refused to cooperate with Congress. The Obama administration called it a phony scandal. But the emails told a different story. Internal documents showed coordination. Senior IRS officials in Washington were involved. And not a single senior official was ever charged with a crime. Let that sink in. Federal employees used the power of government to suppress political opposition and walked away free. Fast forward to 2016. Donald Trump is running for president, and somewhere inside FBI headquarters in Washington, a small team of agents opens a counterintelligence investigation called Crossfire Hurricane. The stated purpose? Investigate whether the Trump campaign was colluding with Russia. But here's what they don't tell you. The investigation was opened on the basis of hearsay from a foreign diplomat who'd heard campaign aide George Papadopoulos mention something vague at a bar in London. That was it. No verified intelligence, no credible source, a rumor at a bar. From that foundation, FBI Director James Comey signed off on warrants to spy on Carter Page, a low-level campaign volunteer. The warrants were issued under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, the FISA court, and to get those warrants, the FBI used the Steele dossier. What was the Steele dossier? A collection of unverified allegations, later proven to be fabricated, paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee. Christopher Steele himself admitted he couldn't verify the central claims. His primary subsource, the man who provided most of the information, was himself investigated by the FBI as a possible Russian agent. FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe would later admit, under oath, that without the Steele dossier, there would have been no warrant. The entire surveillance operation against an American citizen was built on opposition research purchased by the political opponents of the man being spied on. The special counsel investigation lasted nearly 2 years, cost over $32 million, interviewed 500 witnesses, and found, in Robert Mueller's own words, no evidence of a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia. But the damage was done, and the men who authorized it? James Comey was fired, Andrew McCabe was fired, Peter Strzok, who sent texts saying the team would stop Trump from becoming president, was fired. Not one of them has been convicted of a crime. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, the FISA court, was created after the abuses of the COINTELPRO era, after the FBI was caught spying on Martin Luther King Jr., after illegal surveillance of civil rights leaders. The FISA court was supposed to be a check, a safeguard, a guarantee that the government couldn't secretly target its own citizens without judicial oversight. Instead, it became a rubber stamp. In 2019, Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz released a 434-page report. He found 17 17. Significant errors and omissions in the FBI's FISA applications targeting Carter Page. Agents withheld exculpatory evidence from judges. They altered documents. An FBI lawyer named Kevin Kleinsmith literally forged an email to make Page look guilty when the CIA had told them Page was actually working for American intelligence. Kleinsmith pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to probation. He kept his law license. But here's the deeper question. If this happened to Carter Page, a private citizen, a decorated Navy veteran, it could happen to you. The same authority that was abused to spy on a political campaign is the same authority that sits above you right now, waiting for the next person who needs to be silenced. The FISA court issued rulings in 2022, finding that the government had been conducting illegal searches of Americans' private communications on a massive scale. In 1 year alone, more than 278,000 queries of Americans' data were conducted illegally. That's not an accident. That's a system. Now, what if I told you that while the FBI was running surveillance operations, it was also running a censorship operation through Silicon Valley? In December 2022, Elon Musk purchased Twitter and began releasing internal documents to independent journalists. What they found was staggering. The Twitter files revealed that the FBI had a standing relationship with Twitter's trust and safety team. Agents sent regular lists of accounts they wanted reviewed or suppressed. Twitter complied, often without warrants, without court orders, simply because a federal agent sent an email. The Hunter Biden laptop story, reported by the New York Post just weeks before the 2020 election, was suppressed. Emails from a verified Biden family business deal were labeled Russian disinformation by intelligence officials who later admitted they had no evidence that was true. 51 former intelligence officials signed a letter designed to give cover to that claim. Twitter and Facebook used that letter to censor the story. Polls taken after the election showed that if voters had known about the laptop story, a significant portion said it would have changed their vote. We will never know what the 2020 election would have looked like with a free press. But the censorship went beyond one story. During COVID, accounts questioning vaccine mandates were suspended. Doctors who raised legitimate scientific concerns were banned. The White House itself sent lists to Facebook of accounts it wanted removed. Internal Facebook communications showed executives complying out of fear, not agreement. They were afraid of what the government would do if they said no. This is not private censorship. This is the government using private companies as a shield to do what the First Amendment forbids it from doing directly. By now you might be thinking, this happened to powerful people. Politicians, campaign staffers. It couldn't happen to me. Let me tell you about Scott Smith. He's a father from Virginia. His daughter was assaulted in a school bathroom. He went to a school board meeting. He was angry. He's a father. He was arrested at the meeting, and then the National School Board Association sent a letter to the Biden Justice Department asking them to investigate parents like Scott Smith as potential domestic terrorists. Attorney General Merrick Garland responded, in writing, directing the FBI to investigate threats against school board members and educators. The FBI's own whistleblowers later told Congress that agents were using the domestic terrorism label to track parents who showed up at school board meetings. In 2023, an internal FBI document was leaked to Congress. It identified traditional Catholics, people who attend Latin Mass, as a potential domestic terrorism threat. The document cited symbols of extremism, including the Gadsden flag, the American flag, and references to the Founding Fathers. Read that again. The American flag, the Founding Fathers, domestic terrorism threats. The people running America's most powerful agencies have decided that if you love your country, question authority, send your kids to church, or believe the border should be enforced, you are the threat. Not the cartels, not the fentanyl, not the foreign governments buying American farmland near our military bases. You. This is not a theory. These are documented facts. And the question every American should be asking is, what are you going to do about it? The truth is under attack, but it can't be stopped. If this video gave you information your mainstream newscast won't touch, hit that subscribe button right now. Share this with every American who deserves to know. America First Daily, because someone has to say it. We'll see you in the next one.